Well, this is kind of an obscure thing that I don't know if many of our viewers have heard. It's kind of an odd topic.
Yeah, but it's still tech related.
No, I'm joking.
Oh. I didn't get the memo.
The beginning of this live stream.
Go on then, press the button.
Have you guys all heard that there's a shipping backlog and a component shortage? Bright screen warning.
Hello and welcome to Byte Size Tech. I'm your host Rogue, and today a word from our sponsor Crypto.com, home of the Visa card that pays up to 8% in rewards and the app that pays you up to 14% annually on your crypto stake. Join more than 10 million users on the world's fastest growing crypto app as you trade with confidence on the world's fastest and most secure crypto exchange. Tech has more information and a special sign up offer at the end of this video. Record backlog of cargo ships at California ports. So this was just a few days ago. 65 cargo ships have been forced to queue outside two of America's biggest ports in the latest sign of supply chain disruption hitting the US. The ships are stuck outside the port of Los Angeles and Long Beach, California, which handle 40% of all cargo containers entering the country. Before COVID, it was unusual for more than one to wait for a berth. The backlog is linked to surging demand for imports as the US economy has reopened. Retailers and manufacturers have rushed to place orders and restock their inventories, but the global shipping system is struggling to keep up.
It isn't just computer parts.
No, it's children's toys, timber, clothes, pet food. It's
all kinds of things.
Everything.
It's a mess. There's actually a couple of Burger Kings down in Florida that have been so badly hit, they've posted signs saying no French fries. How do burger joints run out of French fries?
So this was on the 21st of September and there was 65. Saturday there was 73, so I'm wondering if there's even more now.
A month ago, there was only about 50. 2 months ago, there was only 40.
Because
it's getting worse, not better.
Because it's 12 days now since this article was written?
It is so bad now, they have run out of anchor space off the coast of California.
And Ian makes a good point. The backlog is present even with the shipping costs being 10 times higher.
Several large retailers are starting to buy, rent, and charter their own ships. Walmart, Amazon, and Costco have either chartered or bought ships and containers to take control of their own shipping because it has become utterly ridiculous. On the continental shelf off of Los Angeles and Long Beach, California, there's only so much continental shelf between Huntington Beach all the way up through Los Angeles and up to Simi Valley. Each container ship requires a certain amount of space to anchor because the ship has to be able to, turn with the wind and everything. And they've run out of anchor space. And so there are more than a dozen ships drifting, unanchored, because there's no place left to anchor them. When you run out of continental shelf off the coast of California to put ships...
That's a problem.
Houston, we have a problem. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous to the point to where this should, if there was ever anything that was a national emergency or presidents can declare national emergencies, this would be one of them. I mean, 73 ships.
That's a lot.
Over 500,000 containers. Mm-hmm. This is ridiculous.
Yep.
And it's worse than 2 weeks ago, and it's worse than 2 months ago. They continue to stack up. Seriously. And of course, it's not just those two ports. Some ships have rerouted to like the Port of New Orleans and around the East Coast. The Port of New Orleans has 20 ships anchored off the shore because they can't get unloaded there either.
Yep.
So all the other ports are backing up.
Yeah, someone said something about San Fran is having problems.
They're not nearly as big a port, but yeah. It's crazy. When I read that they ran out of anchoring space off the coast, I was like, At what point does this become an all-hands-on-deck crisis? Now, here's what's interesting. Here's two countering points, because here is a comment from Dr. Lisa Su, AMD, who says...
Let's see. She expects the chip shortages to continue in the first half of 2022, easing down in the second half.
But here is one from Marvel's CEO
that says the semiconductor chip shortage could extend through 2022.
And
the painful period of semiconductor chip shortages could extend beyond 2022. Oh, beyond?
So it depends on who you're asking. Obviously, different people are going to have different points of view. Now, what's my prediction? It's largely going to depend upon whether or not the world decides that COVID is still a problem, whether the lockdowns and stuff needs to continue, whether the ports get their act together.
Well, that's what I asked Tech Ian, where is the bottleneck? I mean, it has to be somewhere, and once you fix that, then the rest of it will unravel.
There is still a shortage, yes, and here's why. I'm going to skip ahead to another article here. Chip shortages tank GM's third quarter sales. Now, this is cars, and you might say, what does this have to do with technology? I want to make a point here, because this isn't just a few dollars and a few cars. This is billions and billions of dollars.
Chip shortage tanks GM's third quarter sales. So GM is General Motors. General Motors on Friday said it sold about 447,000 vehicles from July through September, down 32.8% from a year earlier. The decline was slightly wider than the industry analysis expectations of, say, 29% to 32%. That's a lot of money. 11.5 billion.
To put that a different way, let's see if they actually have a number in here. They're down about 200,000 units. Okay, here's an important point that I think is worth noting. In the United States right now, the average price of a new vehicle is about $40,000. So they missed 200,000 vehicle sales because of the shortages.
They did.
At an average vehicle price of $40,000, they missed
That's a lot of money.
$8 billion in gross sales. And I'm saying this because of Ian's comment regarding, well, the ships. They did not miss this because of the Port of Long Beach. All those container ships are not the problem for chips. For $8 billion in sales, you can put chips on a 747 and fly them across the ocean. You can rent airplane space for that. Those fit on pallets. That doesn't require containers.
Yeah.
GM can solve the chips are not the shipping problem. The shipping problem is reflective of the entire problem. In other words, I'm not showing you the container backup to say this is why a video card is expensive. Video cards are so valuable for their size, you can air freight them. But that ridiculous 73 ship backlog is reflective of the fact that everything is a freaking mess. Not everybody, let me say this again. People love simple answers. Why are GPUs expensive? Oh, it's COVID. Oh, it's scalpers. Oh, it's China. It's shipping. People want an answer. People want the headline and they want the 3-second story. Do you know what it really is, honey? 57 different things that created a perfect storm.
It's called economics.
It's a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and it's a chip factory in Malaysia that shut down due to a local COVID infection. It's containers not being shipped back to be refilled because the ports are backed up. It's the fact that the companies canceled orders last year thinking that they'd be down. It's a little bit of cryptocurrency. It's
A little bit of everything adds up to a big
And
problem.
everything went to 7 nanometer or 8 nanometer at the same time. You've got CPUs and GPUs, and the consoles launched. The PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X and S want 7 nanometer chips, and the APUs want 7 nanometer chips, and the CPUs and the GPUs. I mean, the fact is, AMD, an RX 6700 XT, and a Ryzen 950, 950X, and one of their EPYC chips they can sell for $7,000 all use the same freaking wafer. And they only make, and TSMC can only make, and there was a water shortage over the summer. Remember that?
Yeah.
There was a in
Taiwan.
they were having to truck water in because there was a water shortage in Taiwan, and so they were literally driving 18-wheelers filled with water because apparently chip manufacturing uses a crap ton of fresh water, and it has to be like really clean and really distilled. I mean, it has to be like perfect water. Mm-hmm. There's so many things. And we live in a just-in-time manufacturing world where companies don't want a year stockpile of inventory. And so everything is delivered just when it's needed. And so if there's a hiccup at one point,
The whole thing.
the entire system goes to crap. And, if I may bluntly say, this is not a movie. This is real life. There does not have to be a villain. Sometimes stuff happens, and there's no Bond villain twirling his mustache and petting his white cat behind a chair, cackling to himself like Dr. Evil.
Number one.
Yeah, I mean, there does not have to be a Bond villain here. It can just kind of be like, oh, crap, everything went wrong at the same time.
Yep. And so it's how do you account for that?
And here's the other thing. This isn't really a COVID problem, but let's be honest. When everybody got locked down last year, a lot of other things that aren't necessarily you would think be shortage items, webcams, you couldn't find a webcam for months to save your life.
Nope.
Laptops all went out of stock. Why? Everybody was at home working from home. And all of a sudden, with everybody staying at home and, I mean, we were fortunate that we already had laptops and stuff for our kids, but a lot of people shifted their purchasing habits and shifted their spending habits when those occurred. They've changed a bit since then. But companies make plans and it takes time to change them. And of course, they didn't necessarily want to change everything they were doing right away because this could go away in 6 months and then they've just changed their business and then have to change it back.
Well, I had an interesting conversation with a lady who works for State Farm, and she does the internal processing of all their new processes. And she said it was very interesting for State Farm because the higher ups at State Farm had a very old point of view, is that everyone had to come into the office. So when COVID hit and people were working from home, they really had to do a 360 on changing their perspective of people not being in the office. And so, a lot of demand got created for things that people didn't think they would need, like webcams, computers, and the other thing that we had a conversation about is they've got some specific software. And so are they taking the whole computer home? Are they remoting in? Is their computer at home? I mean, there were so many questions that had to get answered overnight that they didn't have answers for, that they had to come up with. So,
and especially in insurance, which is a regulated industry, you
Correct.
have privacy laws and you have data security restrictions, and so you have to.
Exactly. So how do you handle all of that for such a big company with so many people doing so many things with such delicate information?
Here's the funny thing. AMD and NVIDIA are shipping more GPUs this year than they shipped last year. But the demand exceeds that shipping by a wide margin. Just I glanced in chat, I saw some people saying, but they are making GPUs. It's not like they don't exist. The last number I saw was that shipments of dedicated graphics cards in 2021 are about 14% higher than the same period last year. Okay, but if demand is 50% higher or 100% higher because of all the lockdowns, and not to get political, but a lot of people got a lot of free money over the past year and a half between extended unemployment benefits, stimulus checks, and a few other things. There was a lot of money sloshing around. I have seen in our own YouTube comments when the $1,400 checks went out earlier this year, people were like, great, now I can buy a video card.
Oh my gosh.
You remember those?
I do remember that.
There are people who otherwise wouldn't have bought who now had money. People who were being paid $300 or $600 extra a week on unemployment. And of course, you know what? I would restructure the whole system if I were charged. Tech for President 2028, you shouldn't lose your benefits on a hard line the minute you get $1 of income. All the benefit systems in America are stupid. You should not be penalized for working. It's really, really dumb. But that's neither here nor there. There were tons of people who either got laid off from their jobs collecting unemployment.
Correct.
Who then took side jobs for cash, gig jobs, and continued collecting unemployment. You're not supposed to, but we all know millions of people did it. So there were plenty of people who were collecting two sets of money. And there's a lot of money sloshing around. Mm-hmm. The money supply has been increased by trillions. So for better or worse, that's a real thing. And so if you have all these people buying computers and video cards, think about it this way. Through last year and even the first half of this year, people were stuck at home. Time to upgrade my computer and play some video games. Mm-hmm. Time to buy an Xbox and a PlayStation 5. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Sony has shipped 20 million PlayStation 5s. Can you find a PlayStation 5? They're still going for $800 on eBay. It's nuts. A year after launch.
Yep.
It's crazy. And they're making millions of them. And it isn't making a lick of difference. They could make 10 million more and I'll bet they wouldn't be in stock. There's that much demand. Should we even get into what cars cost these days?
Oh my gosh.
It is absolutely ridiculous. Ford and GM would love to sell more cars. We've debated, because the value of our current car is ridiculous. I was posting this over on the Tech Deals Discord. We have a car channel, of course. We drive a Honda Odyssey. And ours is 3 years old. We actually bought it October of 2018 is when we bought ours.
Oh, we did that.
3 years ago this month. We paid out the door with everything $44,000 for it. CarMax and Vroom have both offered us just shy of $41,000 for it 3 freaking years later. That is less than 10% less than we paid for it
3 years ago.
Now, if you go buy a new car, they're all stupid.
89.
And there's nothing in stock.
No.
I mean, there is, but not much. It's like, yay, our car's valuable. Oh, crap.
But so is everything else.
They're doing the closeouts on the 2021 models right now because the 2022s are coming shortly. So that's usually when they discount them, right? One of the local Ford dealers here, their F-150s, they want $7,000 over sticker for pickup trucks. I can already hear it from the audience. You know what they're saying?
What?
But Tech, you should be okay to pay over MSRP. After all, you did that with video cards.
Yeah, but the difference with that is that the video card can actually make you money. A card just sits there. I mean, unless you're going to put it on Turo and have it make you money. But some people want to do that and some people don't want to do that.
If I could make money with my car that didn't involve other people driving it, and no, I'm not going to Uber. That's silly. That would be different. If my car made me money like my video card makes me money, I'd be okay to pay it. Actually, if you could make money off of your car, then $7,000 over sticker might be a bargain. Imagine if your truck parked out front could pay for itself in a year just sitting there.
Oh, that'd be cool.
You'd pay $7,000 over sticker in a heartbeat.
Oh, yeah, if it made you money. That's it. Cars have to mine now.
I'm not buying a Tesla. So I just think it's interesting the different points of view. Here, read this, my love.
Let's see. Right now, every single end market for semiconductors is up simultaneously. I've been in this industry 27 years. I've never seen that happen, said Marvel CEO Matt Murphy during a CNBC Technology Executive Council event on Thursday. If it stays business as usual and everything's up and to the right, this is going to be a very painful period, including in 2022 for the duration of the year.
And next one.
With several chip producers, while several chip producers have announced plans to expand factory capacity, Murphy, who noted his firm is fabless and works with contract manufacturers on its designs, said that's not going to kick in until 2023 or 24. So there is a painful period. So it looks like this year and next year are going to be the years to breathe in and out.
TSMC is investing $100 billion in the next 3 years to increase factory capacity. Intel is building 2 chip factories in Arizona for $20 billion.
But that's going to take time.
That's going to take 3 years.
So next year they're going to get built, and then it's going to be it's going to be 2023, 24, like what he said.
And there are raw material shortages that are starting to affix this stuff as well. There's a copper shortage at the moment. Sweetie?
Yes. Oh, yeah, the copper foil shortages could drive motherboard and GPU prices upwards. Today we got another report about the potential problems with motherboards and graphics cards. At the moment of writing, which was on Thursday, the global supply chain of electronics is still under the shortage caused by the lack of sufficient supply of semiconductors and other electronic components that cannot meet demand. There is a reported scarcity of copper and copper-clad laminates used as a base plate for manufacturing printed circuit boards that power every electronic product currently available. Copper pricing has risen by 35% since Q4 2020, so price growth is inevitable. So that means that
not one item is not going to cause a ridiculous dramatic increase in computer component prices.
no, but
But it's one piece of the puzzle.
this and then 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 this, and then people go, never mind. I'll go do something else.
Somebody in chat asked when the crash was going to happen, because if all this demand drives more supply and then nobody can afford anything. I respect that you might not be able to afford it, but it's important not to project that onto everybody. There's a lot of money sloshing around. There's a lot of checks going out to people. Even right now, I mentioned all the money going out. Mm-hmm. Right now, we're getting advance payments. Most families in the United States are getting advance payments for the child tax credit. We currently, we don't need it, but it's like 96 or 97% of all families will qualify for the child tax credit. The cutoffs are way high. I mean, you have to earn buku dollars to not qualify. We are receiving right now $750 a month from the IRS as a direct deposit to our checking account because we have 3 children and they're over 6 years old. If they're under 6 years old, you get $300 per child. If they're over 6, you get $250. We'll get double that when we do our tax return next year. And that $3.5 trillion bill that they're trying to push through Congress right now makes that permanent.
Permanent.
To give everybody so if you have 3 kids, the Democrats want to make it permanent that you'll get either $900 a month or $750 a month as long as you have the kids and they're minors each month, and then that amount doubled in your tax return. So what's 750 times 12? 9,000?
That's a lot of money.
So we get another 9,000 when we do our taxes next year.
Wow.
And almost every single family with 3 kids will get it. Please don't get into the whole, but I don't have kids. Why are you getting the money? I didn't design the system. I am totally the wrong person to be yelling at. But it's that kind of stuff that is going to put enough money out there to allow somebody to go buy graphics cards. Because
Kids can't be mined.
yeah, it's like a non-universal basic income. So chips, technology, cars, shortages. I pulled this simply because it's reflective of the fact that we are not the only industry feeling pain. You ready, sweetie?
Yes. Everything you need to know about the global corrugated cardboard shortage. As the COVID-19 pandemic continues to impact consumer behavior and international shipping, a new shortage is causing ripples across the globe. This time, the shortage is in corrugated cardboard.
Wow, U.S. producers alone churned out 400 billion square feet of corrugated cardboard last year. Look, we don't have to get into the whole article. The point is, there's a cardboard shortage now.
This is going to be interesting.
And you've heard that Costco has now reinstituted toilet paper and paper towel purchase limits.
Oh, really?
They're expecting shortages this winter. So they're getting ahead of it by putting purchase limits in.
Well, that makes sense. Oh, it's going to be interesting. Hopefully we don't have that stupid ice that we had last year. That was terrible. Okay, this is going to be interesting. So Junior deals as part of his engineering class that he's taking. They have to design a chair that you can sit on out of cardboard. So this is going to be interesting. If there's going to be a problem getting cardboard, how are they going to do that?
I know how to get cardboard. Order a bunch of stuff on Amazon, a new egg, and the boxes show up and save them.
Well, yeah, but what's
consume. We need to consume.
I've actually, yes, it's exactly what I told him to
Buy
do.
more stuff.
Buy more stuff.
Well, we have kid coin liners. You guys are funny. To pay for that, your taxes will have to go up. Either that or we'll have to print more money.
Mm-hmm. Who did not know about the cardboard shortage? But that's not all. We've got another one for you too.
You ready, honey?
Here we go. Scott says he works in a hardware store and they haven't gotten electrical boxes in like 6 months. Yes, we had to get some work done on our garage and we needed a specific electrical box for the work, and by some grace of God, I don't know what it was, our electrician had been going in every day to get this particular box, and on the day that he went in, he managed to get one, but they have not been available, so yeah. Yeah. All right, next one. This next shortage that's making the auto industry nervous, and it is natural rubber. Natural rubber is hard to come by.
Tires, car parts, and I did not know it took 7 years for trees to mature. Prices have been low, and so rubber companies or rubber tappers have no incentive to plant new trees. December of last year, U.S. manufacturers held back on ordering rubber during lockdowns, and they're now scrambling to secure it. Just-in-time manufacturing makes everybody tons of money in the good years, but my goodness, if you have something like this happen, not having any stockpiles of anything.
So copper, cardboard, rubber, and
Lithium.
And lithium price skyrockets as EV sales double. So
how are we going to make half of the cars by 2030? There's a goal in Western countries to make 50% of all new cars EV. Currently, like 2% of new cars are EVs. They want to make 50% of cars EVs in just the next 8 years. Is there enough lithium and batteries to do that? Are they building enough factories to do that? Where are you going to get all the raw materials for all that rare earth metal?
I don't know. Yeah, it has gone all a bit pear-shaped, I'll tell you that.
It normally takes 1 to 2 years and $100 million in capital expenditure for each gigawatt hour of production. Given the oversupply seen in 2018, most suppliers are staying cautious. So lithium prices are up 171%. Do you even know how to say that word, my love?
Hexafluorophosphate.
Well, that's a fancy word.
I do know how to say that.
Cobalt and nickel are up. Here's the thing.
Yes.
To everybody who wants things like GPUs to go back to $200, if prices of raw materials keep going and they hold even half of these gains, even if the prices come down a bit, if they don't go back to where they used to be, plus we have the 25% tariff still in place. I think people have forgotten those exist.
Yep.
Plus we've got inflation, which is currently running at over 5%. And I think it's running at 10% because of all the money that's been printed. They cannot send out $750 checks to millions of people every month and then yearly cash bonuses to 50 million families and not have it affect prices.
Exactly. Psycho said foam shortage as well.
What?
Yeah, my...
When do we start lining up for bread? I shouldn't laugh at that.
My chemistry classes came in handy, especially biochemistry, organic chemistry.
Last one.
America faces supply chain disruption and shortages. Here's why. COVID isn't the only reason. What's important to read?
There's a quiet panic happening in the U.S. economy. Medical labs are running out of supplies like
pipettes and petri dishes. Summer camps and restaurants are having trouble getting food, and automobile, paint and electronics firms are curtailing production because they can't get semiconductors. One man told me he couldn't get a Whopper meal at a Burger King in Florida as there was a sign saying, "Sorry, no French fries with any order. We have no potatoes." No French fries in America? That's un-American. Yeah, that's what K Dodgy says. It's worse than you think. As far as shortages are going, we're getting food shortages here in Illinois. Can't get certain foods to supply most trucks. Yeah, thanks, K Dodgy.
I am not saying all this to you guys to be alarmist. I am not saying this to go, oh God, it's going to come to an end, though the world's falling.
Well, no, it's just more awareness. Holidays are cancelled. Russia has all the natural gas.
Here's what I want to say. The title of this live stream includes 2022 predictions. This is the point, timestamp Junior, at 1 hour and 55 minutes.
On the dot.
I'm going to make my 2022 predictions. You ready?
Yes.
And then I want you to make your own predictions. There'll be text predictions and Rogue's predictions.
Okay.
And then we'll take a look at this next year and we'll see which one of us was closest. I believe that there will continue to be shortages through all of 2022 into 2023, but not across the board. Some items will stay out of stock longer than others. Some issues will get addressed. There is a financial incentive at some point with shipping rates where they're at, with trucking rates going up. There's a financial incentives for companies at some point, either the established companies or somebody who sees an opportunity in the market to come in and go, I'm going to come and take over this market because they're leaving all this money on the table. Different segments will start to get addressed at different times. But because of our just-in-time manufacturing process, only plugging 50% of the holes, it'd be like if you had a ship that had 5 holes in the hull and you plug 3 of them. Well, that's great. But if you don't deal with the other 2, the ship's still going to sink. So, well, unless you have a bilge pump, but it's an analogy. You don't fix half the holes in your dam, you fix all the holes in your dam.
Exactly.
It will take until 2023 to fix all the holes in this dam. However, whether or not next year sucks will depend where in the economic spectrum you lie and what you're trying to buy. I do think cars will get sorted before video cards. I think the car situation will get sorted in the next 6 months. I think it has to, or the major automobile companies are going to be in a lot of trouble because they've got a dealer network that isn't selling cars, which means they're not making any money. They've got a service network which will be busy for a while with existing cars, but at some point that's just not enough to run all the dealerships. You've got all those factories and all those workers. Mm-hmm. I mean, GM employs over 100,000 people directly and 1 million people indirectly in all their factories. And even in the part suppliers that don't have shortages, if they can't get the 10 or 15 parts they need to finish the vehicle, the other 1,000 parts aren't needed either. And so they'll start idling all those factories. And the spillover effect is it might be the bumper factory that makes the bumpers in Mexico. They have no shortage of bumpers. But why would you continue to make bumpers if you have no vehicle to plug them onto?
Correct.
And so those people all get laid off. Mm-hmm. And it becomes a fall down chain. It's not the end of the world. We will survive. This is not the 1930s. We will not have 25% unemployment in breadlines. That's alarmist, and I think that's unnecessary. However, I think people hoping that somehow everything goes back to normal in a few months or even in 6 months are kidding themselves. March is November, December, January, February, March. March is 5 months away. Mm-hmm. So we're 5 months away from the 2-year anniversary of COVID. If it hasn't been fixed now, it's not being fixed in 5 months. I think 2 years from now, we'll all be able to look back on this and go, man, that sucked. Even if the prices aren't what you want, at some point in the next 2 years, I do think that graphics cards will get back to the point to where they're in stock to buy whenever you want from Amazon, Newegg, etc. I don't think you'll like their prices, but I do think they will get back in stock. They're slowly starting to get back in stock now, but only, you can find a 6700 XT for $850 or $900 on Amazon or Newegg right now. But for all the cards to come back in stock, it probably will be the 7000 and the 40 series. I don't know if the 3000, if the 30 series or the 6000 will ever be consistently available. They'll be retired before they'll be consistently available. It'll be 2023. So the short version is, if you guys are waiting for normal to return, 2023. What do you think?
I think that there is going to be a consolidation of car manufacturing companies. I think several of them are going to go belly up and they're not going to make it through. And so we're going to go from a whole lot of choices down to just several choices. I think that it is going to be the end of, I think it's going to be midway of 2023, even to the end of it, before things start to settle down with the computer market.
Do you think it'll be longer?
I think it'll be longer.
So
it depends. It depends. If new strains keep coming and people keep getting sick, it'll be longer. If we can nip it in the bud and have it go away and people can return, then I think the demand will drop and I think it'll come back sooner. So it just depends on what happens with any variants. If the variants continue, it's only going to get worse and it's just going to prolong it. Whereas if we can nip it in the bud and it can disappear and people can start heading back to work, then demand drops, supply increases. I think that'll help sort it out. So it just depends on what happens. It depends in there.
I've been watching chat while you've been speaking. Several people have mentioned the current bill there's two bills actually going through Congress at the moment. The transportation and infrastructure bill and then the big economic package that they're trying to do. Does it matter to the recovery or to the situation that's happening with shortages is whether they pass either of those? It's about $5 trillion between the two of them if they pass them both. Or is that just more fluff that won't take effect in the time frame that makes any difference?
I think that.
It'll be great 2 years from now, but it won't happen. It won't help tomorrow.
No, and someone even in chat said that their brother's a farmer and they had a whole load of potatoes that no one was buying because of COVID. So I think a lot of what's going on now is because of that earlier on. Now we need potatoes, but the potatoes aren't available now. They were available here. So the whole timing on everything is off by just enough to completely derail the whole market. It's all a timing thing. If the potatoes are ready here, but you don't need them, that's a problem. If we need potatoes here and they're not ready, but then how much demand do you have for these next lot of potatoes that are coming? Because if the demand is this much and you've got this much, that's a problem.
Is it in our national interest? This is kind of segueing a bit. And see, this should not be, well, I guess it is a political topic, but it shouldn't be a partisan topic. Actually, that's a word that is not used enough in this in all these conversations. Too many people will throw out the word political. A lot of things are political. The word that we should be using is partisan, meaning taking one side or the other. This is not a Republican or a Democrat issue. For example, something that many people may not be aware of. The United States military, the Department of Defense, makes annual payments of cash to multiple airlines in this country. Mm-hmm. And they don't demand anything at the moment for that. But part of the reason they pay them money is should the military ever need 50 or 100 airliners on a moment's notice, they can go to United, Delta, and American and say, you're giving us 35 planes in 24 hours.
Good, take all Uniteds.
And it doesn't matter that you had flights scheduled with them. They're ours now. They did that in the recent evacuation of Afghanistan. Now, they didn't fly the airliners to Afghanistan. They flew them to the UAE, and the reason is they used military planes to make a shorter trip. This way, they weren't having to fly all the way to America.
Correct.
And then they used the civilian planes, and they do that because rather than maintaining a fleet of airliners or a fleet of transport planes, it gives them an emergency reserve of planes that they can call on and say, we need those right now. Should the U.S. government, is it in our interest to maintain reserve stockpiles of rare earth metals, foodstuffs, grain, potatoes, as a when the crap hits the fan reserve? We don't really have reserves of that stuff. And it blows my mind. If the grocery store stopped getting deliveries, the average grocery store is empty in 3 to 5 days. There is no reserves of food. Would it make sense to use taxpayer dollars to provide a buffer to provide protection from emergencies? We have a strategic oil reserve, frickin' oil, but we don't have a strategic food reserve. Why do we not have a strategic food reserve? Why don't we pay farmers to grow food? Do you know the U.S. government pays farmers to not grow food? In order to control the price of food, they actually make payments. There's a farm subsidies bill where they actually pay farmers to not grow food. What if instead they paid them to grow food and put it in warehouses?
Yeah, but the problem with it, I mean, how are you can't keep potatoes unless you freeze dry them. What the hell are you going to do?
That's a logistics detail. Worst case scenario, you know those pallets of food that preppers like to buy that last for 10 years in your garage? You know, where they vacuum seal them and prepare them and they can them and everything? Maybe we need to prepare food like that because in an emergency, that would be better than... I mean, if that got delivered to grocery stores, you know what? Even if it's not as appealing as fresh food, at some point, An empty grocery store versus a grocery store filled with vacuum sealed, freeze dried food, people would just deal.
Yeah, people would.
Because if the other option is not having food, you want to see a society fall apart, have the grocery stores empty. Why do you think the Soviet Union fell apart? The grain and potato famine in the 80s combined with empty grocery store shelves eventually did them in.
Yeah.
And that's not a partisan issue. It shouldn't matter whether you're left or right, whether you're blue or red. That's just like a sensible thing. That's just a sensible thing to do.
4 boxes of MREs.
This won't last you very long, though. We bought a couple of MREs and tried them. You know how you said that you didn't like them all that much? If you didn't have anything else to eat, you'd love them.
Well, yeah, exactly.
You'd be sitting there so grateful that you had them. And MREs aren't really long-term food. They're meant to be eaten in the field without any prep work. The prepper stuff expects you're going to be able to boil water.
Yeah. I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
It's funny. Avi says that MREs taste horrible, period. There are some people who love MREs.
They do. I'm with Avi on that. Don't like them.
Storing stuff is costly.
Yeah.
Running out of food is costly.
Obi-Wan's correct.
What's that?
If the grocery stores get empty, then it doesn't really matter about your graphics cards, does it?
How many of you have a Visa card that pays you up to 8% on every purchase? Crypto.com offers an amazing deal on their Visa card with cashback that is an unbeatable deal. No annual fee, no sign-up fee, no credit checks, no interest payments. It works just like a prepaid debit card, allowing you to spend your money anywhere Visa is accepted. But wait, there's more! Get your Spotify, Netflix, and Amazon Prime subscriptions 100% paid for by Crypto.com. You heard me right. Use your new Crypto Visa card to pay for your subscriptions and get 100% back in rewards. Earning 8% on your new Visa card is awesome, but how would you like to earn up to 14% interest on your crypto holdings? If you're holding crypto for investment, inflation protection, or price speculation, it can be frustrating to feel like your money is just parked. Yes, you really can earn up to 14% annual interest on your crypto, paid weekly directly to your account to spend however you like. The interest is paid in the same token that you're holding. So if you have Bitcoin staked, you earn Bitcoin. If you have Ethereum staked, you earn Ethereum, and so on. Flexible terms are offered, including zero lock, so you can withdraw your crypto anytime you like without restrictions. Or you can hold for 1 or 3 month terms for a higher rate of return. Of course, you can buy, sell, and exchange 100 plus cryptocurrencies with 20 plus fiat currencies using bank transfers or your credit and debit card at true cost. Crypto.com is first and foremost a crypto exchange. There is so much more to explore. I have barely scratched the surface. DeFi features including a private wallet with full control of your private keys, margin and derivatives trading options for advanced traders, crypto credit allows you to borrow against your holdings with no deadlines or credit checks, crypto NFTs allows you to explore the new world of non-fungible tokens, crypto pay allows you to pay any merchant with crypto and you earn up to 10% back in rewards, and that's not even everything they have to offer. If you're looking for the place to be in crypto, use our link in the video description below to sign up today. You'll get a $25 crypto sign-up bonus and 30 days of 0% transaction fees on credit and debit card purchases of crypto. It supports the channel and it gets you a great offer to get started in the world of crypto.